Guys, what's going on? Blossom's back. Welcome back to another episode of Top Drives and another episode of RQ10-100 of the best car in every RQ for a certain track set. Now, if I asked you guys a question right now, describe to me what you think Canyon Tour is as a track. Would you be able to answer that accurately? Because I'll be honest, I wouldn't. I've never watched a Canyon Tour. At least I don't remember ever watching the full race of Canyon Tour. I was even surprised that you can even find it in the single player campaign, because you can. In the first level of the French campaign, the first French campaign, I can't pronounce it, Chamonix or something like that. that was probably really bad. There's actually a Canyon Tour. The first race you encounter is the Canyon Tour. I did not know that. I seriously did not know that that was one of the OG track sets. But yeah, if you know what Canyon Tour is, you let me know. Is it more of a twisty track set? Is it more of a fast track set? Well, in preparation for this video, I decided to watch Canyon Tour myself. And did you know that there was a little bit of a slalom in that? Because I didn't. There was a little, really tiny, about 4 turns or 3 turns, but there is a small slalom area in Canyon Tour. But anyway, guys, that's what we're going to figure out today. What is the best car for each RQ for Canyon Tour, starting from RQ10 all the way to 111. Well, actually, I say 110 to RQ10 to 100 is the name of their series, but it actually goes up to beyond that, but I digress. Let us begin. So, RQ10, what are our nominees? Well, the winner is the Alpha Sprint GT. So, as always, I'll tell you the upgrade pattern and the time. I get all of my times and information from Top Drives Records, just to let you guys know for that disclaimer. Alfa Romeo Sprint GT is the best RQ10 car that you can use for the Canyon Tour. 323 is how you want to upgrade it. It comes in at a time of 1:15:58. Now, to give you a difference of the time between the best time and the best of the worst times, this one is 1:15:58. The best of the best times is 49 seconds 64. So more than 25-second difference between those two cars. Now, moving on to RQ11, we're staying with the Italians. Lancia Fulvia Coupe at 323 has a time of 1:14:63. Now, moving on to RQ12, it goes to the Abarth 1500 Biposto at 332, even not even 323, but drag spec. It's the best for Canyon Tour. Comes in at a time of 1:14:08. Now, bear in mind the Pontiac Firebird, also known as one of the greatest RQ13s in the game, just because AC4 handling is hard to come by for an RQ13, is not the winner for Canyon Tour. That winner goes to the Alpha GT 1600 Junior at 323. It comes in at a time of 1:13:48. So what can we deduce right now? Is Canyon Tour more of a drag track set? I mean, the best RQ12 is the Biposto at 332, and then you've got the Alpha GT 1600 beating cars like the Pontiac Firebird. So obviously, handling isn't the only factor that you need for Canyon Tour. Maybe some of you guys knew this already, but you know, Canyon Tour is one of those races where I always skip. So it is what it is. Next up, Nissan EXA. This, or EXA, I think it's EXA, it's the best for RQ14 at 323, comes in at a time of 1:12:96. Now, moving on to RQ15, our winner goes to the Alpha 2600 or 2600 Sprint. This one, get this, also 332. So drag spec is the best way to go for this car, and it comes in at a time of 1:12:23. Now, I don't expect you guys to remember and memorize, you know, what is the best way to upgrade all of these winners, because it's a good mix, honestly. I have the entire list here. It's a good mix of cars that are 323 and 332. I'm not going to remember them myself, but I do want to share the information with you since it's still fresh in the mind. Now, moving on to RQ16 is the Nissan Prince Gloria Super 6. At 323, comes in at a time of 1:11:70. Moving on to RQ17, Brazen's favorite, the Morgan EV3 at 323, comes in at a time of 1:11:35. Now, moving on to the best of RQ18 and below, all right, is the Alpha Spire S4 at 332, so drag spec on this one. It comes in at a time of 1:10:93. And last but not least, the best of RQ19, and also the best common that you can use for the Canyon Tour, is the Alfa Romeo 2000 GTV. This comes in at a time of 1:10:88, and get this, at drag spec 332. Yep, so the top 2 Alphas are best for Canyon at drag spec. How interesting is that, really? But yeah, there you go. Also, as always in the series, just because sometimes You might be the best RQ19, it doesn't mean that you're the best common, right? Sometimes the best of RQ18 can beat all the RQ19s. But what I can tell you about Canyon Tour is that most of the cars are very gradual, okay? Gradual, okay? So as you can tell from the times, if you've been keeping track, they've been getting, they've been decreasing, right, in value. So far, there's no outliers. Now, moving on to the uncommon ranks, we start off with the best of RQ20. We start with the Volkswagen Scirocco GTI at 323, comes in at a time of 110.45. Moving on to RQ21, we go to Japan for the Mitsubishi Starion GSR-1 at 323. It has a time of 109.96. Now, this isn't only the best RQ21 uncommon for the Canyon Tour. It's also the best between RQ21 and 22, which means that this is not only the best for 21, it beats all of the RQ22 cars on a Canyon Tour as well. Hope that makes sense. The best of RQ22, which the RQ21 Mitsubishi still beats, by the way, is a Nissan. It's a Nissan Exa Turbo, or EXA Turbo. Comes in at a time of 110.06. That Starion that we just looked at came in at a time of 109.96, so very close, both of which are at the 323 configuration. Now, you know how we were talking about how that Biposto, the common, was winning Canyon Tour drag spec, and that was a drag kind of car? Well, we move on to RQ23. We've got the Ford Mustang M81, that's next. Oh, sorry, wrong segue. It's another Mustang that is a drag that actually wins at 323 instead of 332. But anyway, not an outlier. Ford Mustang M81, 323, 109.38. Then, moving on to RQ24, the best winner goes to the Morgan. I think I overshot it. There you go, Morgan +8. I mean, the car that I always thought was good for nothing is actually good for something. Canyon Tour, RQ24s only. There you go. At 323, comes in at a time of 108.73. Now, moving on to RQ25, this Morgan does lose to the best of RQ25, which is another Morgan. It's the Morgan 4/4 1.6 liter, okay? At 323, comes in at a time of 108.41. Now, that segue that I wanted to use earlier, you remember that Biposto, how that was a drag car and it won Canyon Tour and its drag spec? Well, the best of RQ26 goes to another drag car, but it doesn't win as a drag spec. It's the Ford Mustang Mach 1, comes at a time of 107.86, but for this to be the best for Canyon Tour and for the RQ26 range, you're gonna need to max this baby 323 instead of 332. Now, moving on to RQ27, just to let you know, the best of 27 also beats the best of 28. So Mitsubishi Starion. This Mitsubishi Starion is pretty good at the Canyon Tour, aren't they? At, once again, drag spec, 332. This has a time of 107.38. It beats all the 27s, and it will also beat all the entries of RQ28. Now, that's an interesting thing, you know? Like, I thought that the Sea Air Dream would be the best for Canyon Tour for RQ27, but I stand corrected. It actually goes to the Starion, and at the 332 configuration of all things as well. Anyway, moving on to RQ28, we've got Morgan +4 70th anniversary edition. Loses to that RQ27, so this thing isn't much of a winner, but it's the best of the 28s. 107.73, and last but not least, the best of RQ29 and the best uncommon that you can use for the Canyon Tour. This car is Blossom Choice, one of the best. Ford Mustang Boss 351, one of the best uncommons in the entire game. It's so good in so many different situations. Yep, at 323, it comes in at a time of 106.46, starting us off with the 106 times. Now, the Ford Mustang Boss 351 is not only the best for RQ29, it will also beat the best of RQ30 and 31. So I will show you the winners, the best 30 and 31 that you can use, but always remember that even though that those are the best 30 and 31s, they will still lose to that Ford Mustang. Okay, so best 30 on offer goes to a Mazda MX-5 RF at 332. Yeah, no one's gonna 332 this thing, considering that it still loses to the Mustang anyway. 107.28 is the time. Moving on to RQ31, Aston Martin V8 Volante, I think. Yeah, V8 Volante. Yep, where are you? It is the blue monster. Ooh, that's a good looking car. Ah, that's brand new. Yeah, okay. Back on track. There you go. V8 Volante. 332 drag spec again is the way to go at a time of 106.88. Still losing to the Mustang at 106.46. Now, moving on to RQ32. I did not expect this car to be the best for Canyon Tour for RQ32, but it is indeed the Mazda MX-6 2.5 V6 at 323, has a time time of 105.98. So yes, it will be that uncommon Mustang. Now, moving on to RQ33. It's another one. We've seen two of these cars prior, and we're going to see another one again. Mitsubishi Starion GSR V 323 at a time of 105.66. Not only is it best for RQ33, it will beat all of the RQ34s as well. That being said, though, the best RQ34 you could use would be the Mitsubishi HSR VI, or 6, I believe. 323 at a time of 105.90. Now, moving on to RQ35, it used to be one of the best rares in the entire game. Now it's just average. Dodge Stealth, right? At drag spec, by the way, 332, comes in at a time of 105.08. Now, moving on to RQ36, a really good RQ36, the Mitsubishi FTO GP version R. I have this car fully upgraded on my Gawam's account, and it is so useful. It is a great car to have because it has a low 0 to 60 and decent handling. It has that great balance, right? But then again, this is not a car that you want to go 323 on the Canyon Tour. The best way to go about this is to drag spec this car 332, and it will be the best for Canyon Tour with a time of 104.91. Not only is it the best RQ36 for Canyon Tour, it will beat all of the 37s as well. The best car for the RQ37 Canyon Tour will be the TVR 350i, not a BMW, but a TVR. Comes in a time of 105.26 at 323, which means that it kind of gets sent to Gapplebee's by that FTO, which is 1 RQ cheaper. But then again, only caveat is that if you really want the best of the best out of your RQ36 FTO, you're going to have to go 332 for Canyon Tour, right? Not a lot of people, if anyone, is going to do that. Now, moving on to RQ38, congratulations goes to a winner that we've seen on multiple occasions. I do believe it's the best RQ38 for the hairpin as well. The Ford Evos, right? So the Ford Evos 332 though comes in at a time of 104.68. So even though we're at the rare category, we're still seeing a lot of these cars. The best way to upgrade them is drag spec. So again, Ford Evos, if you want this to be the best for the Canyon Tour, 332 is the way to go. I want to see if I can find my notes for the hairpin. I'm not sure if I don't remember which part of my notebook did I write the hairpin. Well, I found slalom. For the slalom episode, I found fast circuit wet. Okay, I can find it anyway. I think it was the best idea for hairpin, maybe. Moving on to RQ39. This car has won a couple categories as well. It's the Abarth 1000 TC Berlina Corsa. Not only is the best RQ39 for the Canyon Tour, it's the best rare that you can use for Canyon Tour. At 323, it comes in at a time of 103.99. Now, pay attention to this car, because not only is it the best rare and the best RQ39, it also beats the best RQ40 and the best RQ41. So if you can't use an RQ42 car for a Canyon Tour, no point using the super rare, just jump down and use an RQ39. That's a better option to use. So let's move on to the super rares, shall we? We're going to start off with RQ40, and that's going to go to the Jag, which, you know, honestly, this thing needs to go down to rare. It just needs to go down to rare. Jaguar XK8 at 332, so still drag spec. It comes in at a time of 104.58, making it the best of the 40s, but still loses to that Fiat RQ39. Best of the RQ41s goes to a Donkavort. It's the S8A. Still loses to the rare, but it does beat the Jag XK8 at 323. It comes in at a time of 104.01. Remember, the Fiat RQ39 comes in at 103.99. Now moving on to RQ42. Congratulations are in order for the Mazda Monoposto at 332. Nobody on earth is going to drag spec this car. Seriously. But 332 comes in at the time of 103.76. And then, the next car over here is the Buick Blackhawk. Now, the Buick Blackhawk is probably one of the most dominant Canyon Tour cars in terms of hitting above its RQ. Like I said, most of the cars that we've seen for Canyon Tour, and most of the cars that we will continue to see after the Blackhawk, you know, are pretty gradual in times, right? The times will just slowly decrease. But for the Blackhawk, this is a very strong Canyon Tour car. At 233, it comes in at a time of 102.34, making it not only the best of 43, but it will beat the best of 44, 45, 46, and 47. So if you cannot use an RQ48 for a Canyon Tour, you can only use a 47 and below. Your best option is this RQ43 Buick Blackhawk. So take that into account. 233, a very good car to own. Now, moving on to RQ44, best option goes to BMW. It's a 6 Series convertible, I believe. Where is that BMW? There it is, the BMW 650i convertible at a time of 103.24 at 323. Moving on to RQ45, I'm genuinely surprised that the Blackhawk beats this one, because this is a pretty big player. It's a Citroen C2R2. 323 is a time of 102.89. So it's a good time, but not as good as the Blackhawk. So this really shows that the Canyon Tour isn't really much of a twisty track set, but it's not a drag track set either, right? Because, you know, things like the Charger Daytona aren't even getting close. Moving on to RQ46. The winner goes to a Morgan Roadster 3.7 V6 at 233, comes in at a time of 102.71, and last but not least, RQ47, and I do believe that this is, I keep thinking it's medium ground clearance, but I do not think that this car is actually medium ground clearance. Mazda Daimyo Turbo, yeah, it's low, okay. Best for RQ47 at 233, has a time of 102.44, so Blackhawk beats everything that you've seen here, all the way up to the Mazda Daimyo, crazy. Now, moving on to RQ48, we got a bit of a hybrid. This car used to be an ultra rare. It is indeed the Aston Martin DBAR1. There you go. 4977 stock at 233. This has the time of 102.08, which edges out the Blackhawk's 102.34. So there you go, DBAR1. And last but not least, the best RQ49, which is also the best super rare and below for Canyon Tour. Congratulations to the Porsche Taycan. This comes at 233 with a time of 101.66. There you go. Now, moving on to RQ50, so we're moving on to the ultra rare ranks. We're going to start off with a car that I can't seem to unpack to save my life, and I really want it. Citroen Saxo Super 1600 at 233, and it's a time of 1 minute 83. Just one flat, 83. Now, this will remain the best car to use for the Canyon Tour, beating the best of 51, 52, and 53. No. Yes, it beats the best of 51, 52, and 53. So this is a very good RQ50 bargain to use, a great ultra bargain to use for the Canyon Tour. Now, moving on to RQ51, the best RQ51 goes to the Australian-made Ford FPV GS Ute, and then RQ52 goes to another donk. It is a donk S880, there you go, at a time of 101.41 at 323, and of course RQ53 goes to my beloved Dodge Challenger Shakedown, there you go, price car, right, at 233, which I don't even have this upgraded at 233, mine's drag spec, I believe. 101.01 is the time, but remember that Citroen Saxo beats everything that you've seen so far. The next King of the Hill winner goes to the RQ54 Chevelle Slammer. And again, like the Buick Blackhawk, this Chevelle is pretty dominant. I've never had the chance to unpack this, unfortunately, at 233. It has a time of 59.83. Now get this, not only is this the best RQ54 for Canyon Tour, it beats the best of 55, 56, 57, 58, and 59. I would say this and the Buick Blackhawk are the most dominant and also the best bargains for Canyon Tour if you want to save an RQ, right? So the next car that beats this on a Canyon Tour is RQ60. Anyway, moving on to RQ55. So everything that you see here, the Slammer will beat until we get up to RQ60. And this is a big surprise, honestly. It beats the Desire. Desire at 233 only comes in at a time of 1 minute 41. Moving on to RQ46. The best RQ46 car goes to the Clown Shoe BMW M Coupe at 233 at a time of 1 minute 48. RQ57 goes to, oh, okay, I was scared that I was going to crash for a second, it froze. Cadillac XLR-V at 233 has a time of 1 minute and 11. 1 minute 11, there you go, 1 minute and 11 seconds, just to be precise. Now, moving on to RQ58, we've got, there are a lot of Dodge winners here, actually, and I'm very honored to say that. Best of 58, Challenger RT Scat Pack at 233 comes in at a time of 1 minute 01. Or 1 minute and like 1 centisecond, I guess. 1:00:01. And then, of course, RQ59, the best car goes to Fiji Water Car. Where is our good old Fiji Water Car? There you go, at 233 has a time of 59.98. So remember, the Chevelle Slammer beats everything that you see here. And the next car to beat the Chevelle Slammer is the best of RQ60, which, surprise, surprise, we stay American, Dodge Charger Super B at 233 is a time of 59.73. Now, we got a three-peat here, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to say. Best 60 was a Charger Super B. Best RQ61, Charger Scat Pack. So where is it? There you go. Charger Scat Pack, best of RQ61 with a time of 59.31 at a 233 upgrade pattern. Then moving on to RQ62, it's the Charger Scat Pack, wide body. So let's freaking go. This is a good card to use. We got the Charger Scat Pack, wide body at a time of 59.24 at a 233 configuration. And then last two cars, we're going to the French. Best of the RQ63s goes to the Peugeot 207R Cup at 233. At the time of 58.51, and I don't think the last car will come to anybody's surprise at all. It is the best ultra in the game, or one of the best ultras in the game is the Peugeot 306 Maxi at 233. It has a time of 58.06, and again, as always, not only is it the best RQ64 for Canyon Tour, it's also going to beat the best of 65 and the best of 66. So the next car to beat the 306 Maxi in a Canyon Tour is going to be RQ67. So let's get into that. Moving on to RQ65, the best 65 is the Roof RCT with a time of 58.83 at 233. The problem is no one's going to have this at 233, or very little people will have this at 233 because this is a 332 kind of car. Moving on to RQ66. The best car is going to go to the BMW M6. So where is that BMW M6? It is, there's a lot of 66s to scroll through. There you go, at 223, it has a time of 58.43. Now moving on to 67, the first car to beat the Maxi is the Volkswagen Golf GTI TCR at 323, not even 233, but at 323. It has a time of 57.94. It also beats the best of RQ68. The best of RQ68 is more of a drag spec car. It has incredible MRA, and that's the Porsche 911 Speedster 3.8 at 233. It has a time of 58.21, but I would probably recommend going 332 on this car because the handling isn't great, the MRA is good, and the top speed is very high. Now moving on to RQ69, nice, goes to the BMW M4. So that's the best for RQ69. There you go, at 233. It has a time of 57.86. Moving on to RQ70, we've got a prize car that wins it for us, a car that recently got nerfed. Well, recently is a bit subjective nowadays, but it's the above Grande Punto, right? At 233, it has a time of 57.49. Now, moving on to RQ51, we're going to the British. It's the Aston Martin Vanquish convertible, the Volante. It is the best at 233 at 57.39. I think now we don't see those freak 332s. I think the last 332 winner was a super rare, and I do believe it was the Mazda Monoposto RQ42 was the last time we saw a 332 win. But anyway, moving on to RQ72, we're going to the Germans. It's the bright yellow and beautiful Mercedes-AMG GT Roadster at 233. It has a time of 57.28. Moving on to RQ73, we stay with Benz, or McLaren, I guess. It's the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren Roadster at 233. It has a time of 57.03. Then moving on to RQ74, not only is the RQ74 winner the best of RQ74, it also beats all of the RQ75s. It's the Hyundai Envision 74 at 233 as a time of 56.48, and it beats the best of 75, one of my dream cars, honestly. I want to buy this car one day. The Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG 233. It has a time of 56.61. Now, moving on to RQ76, one of Wyatt's dream cars. It is the Corvette C8 Stingray, the bright red one that I recently unpacked from Maryland's collection. 233. It has a time of 56.26. Now, moving on to RQ77, I gotta add an extra tire to this off-road because surprise, surprise, the best of 77 goes to an off-road tire car. That is indeed the Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport. According to Top Drive's records, this is the best 77 for Canyon Tour at 233. It has a time of 56.21, which I do find a little hard to believe that it's beating cars like the Porsche 924 Carrera GTP, as well as the Roof SCR 4.2. But it is what it is. It also beats things like the SLR McLaren 722. Let me know if this is correct, but according to the website, that's the best one. Now, moving on to RQ78, it's a car that I recently fully upgraded for the current Tri-Series final, the Lamborghini Huracan LP580-2 at 233. It's a time of 55.93. And last but not least, the best RQ79, and also the best Epic and below that you can use for the Canyon Tour. Congratulations are in order. for the ever so beautiful Chevrolet Corvette Stingray C8. So this is the best RQ79 that you can use for Canyon Tour, but also the best car that you can use up till this point. Best Epic and below. At 233, it has a time of 55.63. Now, moving on to the legendaries. Now, I want you guys to know that for the legendaries, the sample size does decrease. And the main reason for that is because not a lot of players will have all of the RQ80s fully upgraded, and then they added the times in Canyon Tour, so the sample size has decreased. I do think that the best RQ80, if it was fully upgraded for the Canyon Tour, wouldn't be the Hyundai. I believe it will be the Xenos, because I filtered this by 111 instead of fully upgraded, and in terms of 111, the best car for RQ80 was the Xenos. I guess I can show you what the Xenos is. I go to all cars. I need to get rid of wishlisted. So according to the 111 stats and Top Drives records, the best Canyon Tour car was the Xenos. Yeah, the Xenos E10R. There's only one that you can choose, right? But then again, no one has that fully upgraded, and no one has put in the times for Canyon Tour. So the sample size does decrease. So take the legendary winners with a little bit of salt. But the Hyundai Veloster N kicks us off for the fully upgraded category, coming in at a time of 55.39, which actually beats the C8 Stingray. I was gonna think that the RQ79 was gonna beat at least a couple RQ80s and 81s, but no, the Hyundai Veloster is best at fully upgraded 55.39. Now moving on to RQ31-81. Sorry, I can't speak numbers today. Viper SRT. Yeah, I can't speak. SRT10 233 55.33. Next up is the Saline at 55.13. All these upgrade patterns are 233, by the way. Lamborghini Huracan is next at 54.79. The McLaren 12C is still good for something, huh? The campaign car. 54.69. RQ85, Roof CTR3, 54.66. Caterham 620R, 54.51. Ultima, 54.03. Ford GT is up next. We've got 53.99. As you can see, the times just go down. I don't know if you guys want to know the times over and over and over. I will tell you if there are any outliers, but here are all your winners. You got the D8 GTO, the Zenvo TSR. I mean, let's have a look at if there are any correlation in terms of 0 to 60 in handling. 2.9, 30, 26, 27, 27, 27, 26, 27, kind of around that range, right? Koenigsegg Agera is up next. Blosseg, right? The OG Blosseg. We've got the Regera at 233. This has a time of 52.68. The Venom is up next with 52.44. Senna 52.24. P1 GTR. Not only is it the best for RQ96, it's also the best of. It beats all the 97s. So the P1 GTR will beat the Jesko Absolute on the Canyon Tour. P1 GTR is a time of 51.86. Jesko Absolute 52.16, and that's at 323. Not even 233. I don't know why anybody with 323 or Jesko Absolute. That's actually crazy. Ultima RS is up next at 233. Again, this is a car which I would probably go 332 if I ever upgraded it, but this is a time of 51.81. Jesko Attack 51.58, and then we've got the FAP 51.43. Not only is it the best RQ100, it will beat the best of 101, 102, 103. So the HDI FAP will beat the Coloni, Devo, and Mission R on Canyon Tour, which is crazy, honestly, because this has a ridiculously low 0 to 60. Coloni has a time of 52.28, and Devo is a time of 52.21, so the Devo actually beats the Coloni as well. Mission R 51.48, so they all lose to the Peugeot 908. Then with the Audi R18 TDI Ultra, this has a time at 233 of 51.23. Zenvo Aurora at 51.46. Koenigsegg Chimera Concept at 51.28. So these two cars still lose to the Audi R18, and then our next king of the hill is the Audi R18. R18. Yeah, so one's TDI Ultra, one is not. This at 233 is the 50.21. And then our top two cars goes to the Volkswagen IDR Pikes Peak. These are the only two cars that go sub 50 seconds on Canyon Tour. The IDR Pikes Peak comes in at a time of 49.79. And the T16 Pikes Peak, the best in the entire game, has a time of 49.64. So there you go. The Pikes Peak is the king of the Canyon Tour. Congratulations. And let's have a look at all of our winners. So let's get rid of a legendary. Let's just look at wishlisted. Here you go. These are the best entries for every RQ for the Canyon Tour. So any surprises? I would say most of the surprises come, here in the low end, especially things like the Mazda. This is the best at drag spec for the Canyon Tour. This is the best at drag spec for Canyon Tour. This is the best at drag spec. I think one of the biggest surprises is this drag spec is the best for Canyon Tour, for some very crazy things that we've came into a conclusion here. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for today. That's RQ10-100 Canyon Tour. Let me know down in the comments below what you want to see next. I hope you guys have a great day. Remember, stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't care.